when I see Bears fans and Packers fans go at each other on Twitter, I say to myself, that's cute. They're trying to pretend like this is a rivalry. And to be absolutely clear, it was once. It is no longer. It just isn't. Which is a crying shame. Because these games, this rivalry, used to mean so much to everybody involved. You know, this goes back to the early fledgling days of the National Football League in 1921 and all the games that these teams have played over all of the years. And you got geography at play, Illinois versus Wisconsin, big city versus small city. And it feels like it's got so many of the natural elements of a blood feud rivalry, but it doesn't. Packers fans hate the Cowboys and the Vikings and the 49ers way more than they ever would the Bears. And it's been that way for decades. Decades. Maybe it means more to Bears fans because Bears fans haven't had a lot to hold on to from a success and championship standpoint. Good point. I certainly think that's the case. Way more obsession from Bears fans lobbing it over the border to Packers fans than vice versa. Which is a shame. It's really sad. Because with the history, all of the names, all of the legends that have played in this rivalry over the years, this should be the preeminent rivalry in the National Football League. And it is no longer and has not been for decades. And over the past several decades, it has been dominated by the Green Bay Packers. Since the start of the 1990 season, the Packers are 48-19 against the Bears. Let me repeat that. 48-19. It is so bad to a point where the Packers now have a 10-game advantage in the all-time series head-to-head matchup. The record's 105, 95, and 6. Advantage Green Bay. That's how sad it's been. And not only has it been a several decades thing and suffering through all the years for Bears fans of watching Favre kill him. And now Aaron Rodgers killed him for 15 years. In the past few years, the Bears have lost 8 straight matchups to Green Bay. I wish this meant more than it really does. This is more a game of two teams that happen to play in the same division than a blood feud rivalry. But we may be at a point now where this could get back to feeling a little bit more like a rivalry. Because for the Green Bay Packers, after 15 seasons of Aaron Rodgers at the helm, which came after 16 years of Brett Favre at the helm, 2023 marks a whole new age. It's the Jordan Love experience that's underway for the Green Bay Packers. Levels the playing field a little bit. For the first time in 30-plus seasons, the primary starter for the Green Bay Packers isn't a future Hall of Famer unless Jordan Love develops into one. Meanwhile, for the Bears, 2023 is a pivotal year for this franchise, and I mean that. This is truly a significant season, one of the most significant seasons I can recall in my lifetime of being a miserable Bears fan. It's year 3 of the Justin Fields experience. It's time to see what this young man can be or cannot be. And with that, you've got now 2 young quarterbacks relatively close in age. You know, this could be a footnote in the history of the Bears-Packer rivalry, or it could be a start of a whole new chapter of the Bears-Packers rivalry. You know, if you're a Packers fan right now, you really don't want the Bears beating you to make it feel like a rivalry. You like kicking the shit out of the Bears because you can take them for granted and chalk up 2 wins a year. I totally get it. But it used to mean so much more. So much more. And it's a shame that it doesn't anymore. Now, as we get ready for week 1, new season, new hope, new expectations, The possibilities spring eternal. They're endless. Let's talk about this matchup on Sunday afternoon. Starting with the injuries. For the Green Bay Packers, Christian Watson has already been deemed out for Sunday's game. So yeah, like Bears fans will take that, right? The Packers' number one receiver will not start the season for the team. Romeo Doubs is questionable. I'm thinking he's going to play, but we will see. But for a young quarterback like Jordan Love, you want him to go into this game with a receiving core in Green Bay that's already kind of Now you take the most promising of those young wide receivers and you say, what do you got? Not a great situation to be in. Meanwhile, for the Bears, they come in relatively healthy themselves. Like even when I talk about Christian Watson being out for the Packers, they're pretty healthy, which they can be happy about. Same thing with the Bears. You've got Tevin Jenkins out, though. Fucking Glass Jenkins out for the first 4 games at least. And that's led to some shifting around on the offensive line. Oh, boy, Lucas Patrick starting at center. Yeah. Oh, that'll get you excited as hell. Talking about the current spread and over-under for this game, the Bears, as of right now, have a little more money on them. They're 1.5-point favorites. The over-under for this one is 41.5. And I think that makes sense, right? The Bears are at home. Typically, you think of the home field advantage as something like a 2.5 to 3-point margin. And with the Packers' history against the Bears, you take a little bit away. I could see why people are a little more sure of Justin Fields as compared to Jordan Love. When you look at this matchup, what are some of the keys to the game? I think for the Packers, there's 3 main things. Number 1, get the running game going early and often. When you go back to the 2 games in 2022, what was the formula there for the Packers? It wasn't Aaron Rodgers shredding the Bears. No. It was Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon shredding the Bears. The Packers in the first matchup had 203 rushing yards. In the second matchup had 175. For a Bears team that does have some questions on that defensive line, and people look at that unit and they're not exactly impressed, and this is a team that even looked like it had some struggles in the preseason against the run, the Packers would do well to attack that weakness early and often. Now, when you have to put the ball in Jordan Love's hands as a passer, they should be finding ways to target Tyreek Stevenson early and often. The second-round rookie is going to be making his first NFL start. He's raw. He can be had. He can make some mistakes. He's made some mistakes in the preseason. They've got to attack him early and often. Force the Bears to adjust. Go at him. And then defensively, the Packers need to force Justin Fields to play from the pocket. Until he proves he can beat you as a pocket passer, force him to be a pocket passer. That means you play the run more aggressively, you do that. That means if you keep spies on Justin Fields, you do that. That means if you slow down your edge rush to contain, that's what the hell you do. As far as for the Bears, you got to get Justin Fields in rhythm early as a passer. None of this gutless, gutsy, put him up. I'm the offensive coordinator. First play of the season. It's a whole new era. 1st and 10, halfback dive. Oh, 2nd and 6, halfback dive. 3rd and 2, halfback dive. And punt and scene. No. Get him in the rhythm as a passer early and often. That's slants, that's flats, that's outs. Get him moving out of the pocket. Screens, etc. Get Fields in rhythm. That's what you got to do here. And then speaking of the passing game, you brought in DJ Moore to be that wide receiver 1. You need to establish in week 1 that he is wide receiver 1. I don't give a fuck if Jair Alexander is shadowing him all over the field. I don't care if he's getting bracket coverage. You have to force the ball to DJ Moore. Because it's not just about this game, but you're establishing what you can do throughout the course of the entire season. It can open up other things. 10-plus targets for DJ Moore. Anything less is unacceptable. And then defensively, the Bears really need Yannick Ngakoue and DeMarcus Walker to get some pressure off the edge on Jordan Love. They really do. They need to be able to get him off his spot, get him uncomfortable. If they don't do that, it could be a bad day for the Bears defense, especially with how the Packers are, I feel, going to be able to run on them. But it's a new season. And as much as I've talked about the history of this thing, since 1990, the Packers are 48-19. That's all fine and good. But it's a new year. It's a new era. It's a new time. It's not Bears football. It's time to change shit. Not this time, Green Bay. Not this game. This is the Bears' game. This is the Bears' moment. They're going to win 23-19. By God, they're going to do it. It's time to beat these fucking cheeseheads. I'm tired of losing these sons of bitches. Let's get back to making this actually feel like a goddamn rivalry. The Bears